All right, we're going to make a scoop-toed or a diamond-toed hind with a reverse wedge. It's going to be made out of 1/2 by 3/4. 1/2 by 3/4 is a nice stock. We're going to bump it a couple times to get plenty of material in there, and then the rest is drawn out. And the toe is going to be probably the major part of this forging exercise. All right, we've got 12 inches of steel. I moved the center punch mark over 3/16 of an inch inside, and the lateral branch then would have 3/8 of an inch more on the outside. We're gonna bump this area right here pretty heavily through a couple heats. All right, we're just gonna bump on the outside, try and get some material, and mostly width and thickness. We'll get one more heat in there, and then we can go ahead to making the shoe. All right, we let that heat drip out just a little bit more because we're making a reverse wedge, so we don't want to have just everything right in the toe. We want some of it to drip down the branches. I'm just kind of trying to keep track of my section. I've got it all built up here. I have a lot more material here. And now what I'll do is I'm going to crack my toe, and I'm going to focus on making 2 scoops on both sides of that center punch mark. If you use the whole hammer, it'll get way too big. You got to just use the edge of the round part, and then that way it doesn't get too big. If you use the whole surface, it'll just wreck things. All right, we're going to just crack the toe and get it tight in the center. This kind of helps you from doing it from the outside. You're not actually losing material. As soon as you go to the horn, you start losing material, so you want to make sure that you tighten this thing from the outside and not the inside. And then you can see how I'm just making everything more acute. All right, so we put the center punch mark up on top. I'm going to use the edge of the hammer, and I just focus on one side, and see I'm hitting the edge. And then we come around to the horn. All right, and then we use the edge of the hammer again. And you can see up here on top, I've got my scoop started. And what I'll do is I'll get a heat and I'll flatten it from the opposite side and smash everything back in. All right, we have these bumps. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in and push to the outside and flatten up real good. You can see what I've done is flattened her up. Now I'm gonna just come in with the edge of my hammer and scoop it out again. What you do on one side of the horn, you gotta do on the other. So come in here and clean it up. Now I've got my toe set up. I'll flatten it from the back side and scoop it all out. And then as you can see right here, this is where my branch is gonna start. And you can see it doesn't really start from there, but I'm gonna set it up to where I can start it from there. That's where my toe is gonna start. I'm just gonna flatten up the back side. And then you can see here, I'm just gonna create the beginning of my branch. You can see how I pushed down and I created the beginning of the scoop. So then if I find the radius on the horn and use the edge of my hammer, I can find those two lines and then come up here and find that scoop. And I've created the transition to where that point of the scoop is the beginning of my branch. All right, we're just gonna flatten the branch all the way down. Forge a heel on it. I'm going to take about the widest part. I'm just going to start saping off my heel. Come around the edge. And come back up here again. Start my hemming. And flatten. Now what I'll do is just kind of clean up the edges and turn the branch. We're just going to tidy up our edges, put it on the diagonal, and just clean up all your edges, and that gets it to where it's really just a nice section. Just kind of visiting everything, aspects, and then bending it up on the horn. And now that I got it bent, I'm just going to kind of work my way all the way through the toe, and come around the edge, and come all the way through the heel. Now I'm ready for the other side. All right, we're going to set up the toe. We're getting this little roundness right here. Come up here. And now we'll just flatten the whole thing out. Make a heel. Just flattening up. Come on down. And then clean up the edges. Right here, just trying to get this toe set up to where that toe comes out at the exact same point that that scoop ends. You can see I've got my toe. Boom, boom. And then I'm going to set up the fuller end. All right. I set up my fuller end, and I set it back just a little bit because I figure I want to come out right at a right angle. Let's just say a right angle. A right angle to that, where that T intersects. That will be where I want my fuller end to be. We'll do the medial first. Alright, so we come up here and we go to the widest part of the foot and then come around the corner. Hem it up. We're ready for the outside now. Alright, we're going to hem it up, go to the widest part, and then go on past the widest part and clean that up. Now we'll fuller it. We got 4 nails, so 4 on the outside, 4 on the lateral. Alright, what we'll do is we'll just revisit the toe and then be done with it. Alright, when you want to finish this shoe up, you're just going to come and you're going to use the edge of your hammer, and when I say the edge, like the heel of it, the round, and you're just going to come in here and clean up to right, make that tip just right. And then get way out on the bick, and I'm going to pull the corner to that roundness. I'm pulling it to the roundness right there. And then once I've established all those lines, just come through here and flatten it up one more time. And you can see a nice diamond toe, and your line comes through. It begins at the scoop. It begins at the scoop.